This is what it's come to. A U.S. citizen is being held in a detention center by ICE. Not a resident, not a green card holder, not even someone who had applied for citizenship and gotten it, like as a grown-up, which would be valid if he had. No, he was born here in the state of Georgia. And he was traveling to Tallahassee. And there's a law in the books, which is being challenged, by the way, in Florida, that says it's illegal for an undocumented person to enter the state. The car he was in was pulled over. He wasn't driving. He was the passenger. He was suspected of no crime other than being an undocumented person entering the state, and he was arrested for that. And then he had a court date where his mother showed up with his birth certificate, handed it to the judge. The judge confirmed this is an authentic birth certificate. This person is a U.S. citizen by birth, and my hands are tied. There's nothing I can do because he's on a federal ICE hold. His crime was being brown and having a Latino name. That's what he was guilty of. And he is still incarcerated right now as a U.S. citizen. Hey, Miami Cubans that are all pro-Trump. This can be you. It happens this easy. People who aren't getting due process are being shipped to a prison in El Salvador. And now people who are U.S. citizens and are proving I'm a U.S. citizen are still being incarcerated. You need to be worried.
A U.S.-born citizen was detained by ICE. Here's what we know. 20-year-old Juan Carlos Gomez Lopez was driving from Georgia to Florida on Wednesday when he was stopped by the Florida Highway Patrol and charged under a state immigration law. However, during a virtual court appearance, Leon County Judge LaShawn Riggins reviewed Gomez Lopez's birth certificate and confirmed this is indeed an authentic document, stating that he should not be classified as an illegal alien. Gomez Lopez's first language is Tzotzil, a Mayan language, and he spent part of his childhood in Mexico, but he currently lives in Georgia and was traveling to Tallahassee, Florida for construction work, about 45 minutes from his residence. For context, U.S. citizens are protected under the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, which prohibits unreasonable searches, seizures, arrests, and detention. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, is tasked with enforcing immigration laws that apply to non-citizens. In 2023, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a law making it illegal for undocumented immigrants to enter the state. Although Gomez Lopez was initially charged as an unauthorized alien, he was released Thursday evening after spending a night in jail under a 48-hour ICE hold.
Let's talk about Lopez Gomez, a US-born Latino citizen. Yes, born in the United States, detained by ICE. Not because he committed a crime, not because there was a mistake in his paperwork, but because he looked quote-unquote suspicious. And ICE only let him go after his mother showed up with his birth certificate in court to prove he had every right to be there. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. If you're coming across this channel for the first time, my name is Rosemary. Kindly consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Before we get to the video, let me play a few clips on this, and I'll be back with my commentary. All credit goes to the original creators of these videos.
A U.S. citizen is being held by ICE under Florida's new anti-immigration law. You guys, this story is wild. Juan Carlos is a 20-year-old U.S. citizen born in the United States. He was a passenger of a car driving in Florida when he was pulled over by the police. He was initially charged with a first-degree misdemeanor, but Leon County officials dropped the charges, meaning there was no criminal case against him. Despite the charges being dropped, ICE put a hold on him. ICE put a hold on a U.S. citizen, meaning that the judge couldn't order him released from jail. Both the prosecutor and the judge said that they don't have jurisdiction to get him released because of the ICE hold. At issue here is Florida's new anti-immigration law, which makes it a crime to enter the United States not through a port of entry. But here's the thing, a federal judge paused Florida's ability to enact that law until they see if it's constitutional. So here's the thing. If he was arrested under a law that was temporarily paused, then why was he arrested in the first place? More and more U.S. citizens seem to be targeted by this administration's immigration enforcement policy. We've seen that already with 2 U.S. citizen lawyers who were detained upon entry back into the United States. Now, of course, those 2 U.S. citizens were eventually released after a couple hours of questioning. And we need to make sure that this young man is released by ICE, and we hold ICE and this administration accountable for its illegal kidnapping of a U.S. citizen.
You all remember when Donald J. Trump said that he wanted to send American citizens to El Salvador. He asked the dictator of El Salvador to make 5 more facilities, just like the CCOT Center, in which Abrego Garcia is being held. So not only did he lie while he was campaigning saying that he was only going to deport illegal criminal immigrants, now he's coming after the homegrown citizens. U.S.-born American citizen under ICE hold in Florida after driving from Georgia. A man by the name of Juan Carlos Gomez Lopez is being held even though a county judge found his birth certificate authentic and said there wasn't any reason to consider him as an illegal alien. Mr. Juan Lopez, 20 years of age, was born here in the United States, was being detained at the request of immigration authorities Thursday, despite an advocate showing his U.S. birth certificate in court and a county judge finding no reason for him to be considered an illegal alien who illegally entered Florida. And after inspecting his birth certificate, Leon County Judge LaShawn Riggin said during the hearing that this is indeed an authentic document, but that she did not have jurisdiction beyond finding no probable cause for the charge. Nonetheless, he remains detained locally at ICE's request, said Thomas Kennedy, a spokesperson at the Florida Immigration Coalition who attended Thursday's hearing. So it has begun. Donald J. Trump has instructed ICE to go ahead and detain American citizens.
Lopez Gomez was just driving from Georgia to Florida, minding his business like any other American. But ICE didn't care. They detained him, treating him like a criminal just because of how he looked. And the crazy part, this is not just some isolated mistake. This is a system that has been embodied to treat Latinos, immigrants, and citizens alike as if their very existence needs to be justified. Imagine being born in the US, raised there, pledging allegiance to the flag, and still being seen as quote-unquote not American enough. That's the reality for Lopez Gomez. That's the reality for a lot of Latinos who look like him, sound like him, and live just like him. Now, here is where it gets real. Some Latinos voting for Trump. They stood behind his law and order talk. They cheered when he said he was going to build that wall. They thought they were safe because they were quote-unquote illegal, because they were born here, because they were citizens. But guess what? Even that didn't protect Lopez Gomez. This is what happens when you think your skin tone or your citizenship will shield you from racism and anti-immigration policies. Trump's agenda didn't come with a pass for US-born Latinos. Lopez Gomez's story is terrifying because it shows how deep the problem goes. ICE has been detaining US citizens for years. This is not new. Under Trump, these stories became more frequent, more normalized, and more violent. But some Latinos still thought, not me, I'm not one of them. That's good immigrant versus bad immigrant mentality. Yes, it doesn't work because when the system is built on discrimination, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're brown, you are a target. If you speak Spanish, you are a suspect. If you come from a Latino family, you are automatically under suspicion, even if your birth certificate says Texas or California. Let's be honest, Latinos who voted for Trump made a mistake, a dangerous mistake. Some thought aligning with witnesses would protect them. Some thought buying into conservative politics meant economic growth of strong values. But what they got in return was fear, ICE raids, kids in cakes, family separations, and now US citizens getting detained without cause. Supporting someone who openly demonizes immigrants doesn't make you immune. It makes you a tool in your own oppression. And that's the heartbreaking part. People like Lopez Gomez are paying the price for decisions made by folks who thought they were above the consequences. To every Latino who voted for Trump and thought they were safe, this is your wake-up call. Your citizenship doesn't make you invisible to racism. Your taxpaying status doesn't shield you from suspicion. You can wave the flag all you want, but if you look at a certain way, that flag won't always wave back. And for those who didn't vote for him, you want your families who spoke about, who stood up, you are right all along. This moment is proof of ICE didn't care about Lopez's papers. They only cared about the color of his skin and his last name. What happened to Lopez Gomez is about more than just one mistake. It's about a government agency that's been given too much power. It's about a political party that has built its platform on fear and division. It's about what happens when we don't stand up for each other, when we believe the lie that some of us can be safe while others are thrown under the bus. This is about holding people accountable, politicians, agencies, and yes, even voters. Because when you vote for someone like Trump, you're not just voting on taxes or jobs, you're voting on who gets treated like a human being and who doesn't. Lopez Gomez deserved better. He deserved to be treated like the citizen he is, and he should have never needed his mom to prove that to ICE. This story is painful, it's humiliating, and it's enraging, but most of all, it's a lesson for Latinos who thought they were safe, a reminder that hate doesn't check your passport, and a warning that if they don't start voting and acting in everyone's own best of interest, more stories like Lopez will keep happening. Don't be silent, don't be complicit, speak out, share his story, and when the next election comes, vote like your life depends on it, because for some people like Lopez Gomez, it actually does. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.